Latrell Mitchell is out for the New South Wales Blues and it's flipped the script. So here's what's happened on the weekend in sports. Welcome to the Sports Playbook. I am Daniel and we are Australia's weekly sports news podcast. So here's everything that happened in this weekend in sports. In rugby league, the New South Wales Blues win the Women's State of Origin. In Brisbane, the Blues defeated the Queensland Maroons 14-10, and for New South Wales, they remain undefeated at Suncorp Stadium and they've retained the Origin Shield. That is thanks to two try-saving efforts, one from Jessie Southwell and one from Tegan Berry with less than 5 seconds remaining in the match. That kept New South Wales within the game to win the series. For the New South Wales Blues, they will aim to make history and sweep the series 3-0. The final game of the Origin series will be held on Thursday, the 28th of May, in the Gold Coast. Also in rugby league, NRL had a magical weekend in Brisbane. The weekend started with good news as the NRL have extended their deal with the Queensland government to keep Magic Round in Brisbane. They will keep that until 2032, with the concept starting in 2019. Cronulla kicked off Magic Round with a big win over the Canterbury Bulldogs. For the Bulldogs, they currently sit 14th in the NRL ladder and they are searching for answers when it comes to their attack and their defence. For the Dolphins, they got a convincing win over the Rabbitohs, whilst the Sea Eagles continue their excellent run under coach Kieran Foran, defeating the West Tigers by 28 points. And for the Roosters, their 5-game winning streak came to an end when the Cowboys defeated the Roosters by 6 points. The Knights recorded convincing wins over the Titans, and for the Dragons, they sunk to their 14th loss in a row, being defeated by the Penrith Panthers. In football, Sam Kerr is officially leaving Chelsea. After 6 years, Sam Kerr has officially announced that she'll be leaving the Chelsea Football Club. In Kerr's last game for Chelsea, Sam equalled the record for the most goals for Chelsea in the Women's Super League. For Kerr, her stats speak for themselves. 158 appearances, 116 goals, 5 Women's Super League titles, 3 FA Cup titles, and a 2-time Golden Boot winner for being the top scorer in the Women's Super League. And this all comes as the Women's Super League season is coming to a close, and a lot of transfers and player exits are now starting to get confirmed. Some other big changes across the league. Millie Bright, Sam Kerr's teammate from Chelsea, is also leaving the club. For Katrina Gorry, the Matilda star, she'll be leaving the West Ham Football Club. And for Gorry, she led West Ham for the final time as their captain. And for Arsenal, they have 2 club legends leaving the team, in Katie McCabe and Beth Mead. Also in football, Melbourne City win the Women's A-League Championship. Melbourne City won their 5th Women's Championship title in style. They defeated the Wellington Phoenix in the final 3-1. But for Melbourne City, they weren't able to celebrate for too long, and that's because they had to depart for South Korea to play in the Women's Asian Champions League semi-final. In athletics, Abbey Caldwell records the second fastest Australian 1500 metre time. At the Diamond League in Shanghai, Abbey Caldwell has stormed home to finish 3rd in the 1500 metre event. For Caldwell, the final time was 3 minutes 56 seconds, which she was able to shave 3 seconds off her best ever time. And that time makes Abbey the second fastest Australian of all time in the 1500 metre event. The person that is ahead of Abbey is Jess Hull, the 1500 metre specialist. In the AFL, the Sydney Swans remain on top. For the Sydney Swans, they just got home in a tight match against Collingwood, defeating them by 6 points. But in the other games, the Geelong Cats thumped the Brisbane Lions by 41 points in Brisbane in a massive upset. But for Carlton, in great news, they won their first match without coach Michael Voss. They defeated the Western Bulldogs by 12 points, and Fremantle continued their dominant run after defeating Essendon by 43 points. And finally, in netball, the Melbourne Vixens' undefeated streak is over. The Sunshine Coast Lightning delivered the upset of the season, defeating the Melbourne Vixens by 10 goals. In the other games, the Queensland Firebirds defeated the Giants by 6 goals, whilst the New South Wales Swifts got a gutsy win over the West Coast Fever by 6 goals. The Swifts continue to push for their finals chances. And the final game of the round, the Adelaide Thunderbirds defeated the Melbourne Mavericks by 4 goals in a tight game. Well, would you look at that? That is quite the weekend results roundup. So now it's time to dive right in to our main story. This is the main story. This story is actually still unpacking as this podcast is being recorded, and it is the State of Origin series. The New South Wales Blues and Queensland Maroons will pick their teams for Game 1. For the New South Wales Blues, they have had a massive injury strike this team, with gun centre Latrell Mitchell being ruled out for Game 1. For Latrell, he's been ruled out through a back injury that it appears he re-injured in the Rabbitohs game against the Dolphins. As we record this podcast on Sunday evening, the team has not been chosen and there is still a lot up in the air, with the biggest decision for New South Wales being that fullback role. The fullback position is under the biggest microscope for Laurie Daley. Who does Laurie Daley, the coach, decide? Is it Dylan Edwards or is it James Tedesco? For the New South Wales Blues, there are a lot of potential debutants for this team, and they include Blake Brayley, Casey McLean, Adam Fanua-Blake, Ethan Strange, and I'm sure there's one or two more that will come in to this team as this podcast is being recorded. And for Queensland, there is still a lot up in the air, and that is because Tom Dearden, who is set to be their halfback, has been ruled out through injury. So the halfback option is hotly up for debate, but it appears that Billy Slater will look for a left of field choice, and that is because Kalen Ponga is set to be the Queensland halfback alongside captain Cameron Munster. The other potential debutants for Queensland include Jojo Fafita and Jack Howarth. And for both of these teams, their Game 1 team will be selected on Monday, the 18th of May, with the New South Wales Blues confirming their team at 7:30am Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. And for Queensland, they will make their team selection at 9am, also Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. And with that, we move in to our standout performer. Each week, we call out one athlete who has made us stop and pay attention. This week, it's netball and it's Romelda Aiken-George. And for Romelda, she's just broken a major record in Suncorp Super Netball. In her 19th season, Romelda has played her 255th National Netball League match. By doing so, Romelda has broken the all-time record, and the previous record holder was Kath Cox. And for Romelda, whilst the West Coast Fever were unable to defeat the New South Wales Swifts, Romelda was still playing at her absolute best. And the thing that's most impressive for Romelda is the longevity that has stood out to me. In the 19 seasons that Romelda has been playing in the Super Netball competition, she has won 4 premierships. In the last 4 seasons where she's played for the New South Wales Swifts and Adelaide Thunderbirds, all of these teams have made the finals under her guidance and leadership within the playing squad. It was also great to see Romelda being celebrated for this incredible achievement with her young daughter right by her side. So I wanted to say a big congratulations to Romelda Aiken-George. 19 years of professional netball, that is an incredible achievement. And with that, we get into our final segment. This is the state of play after the weekend in sports. In the NRL, the Panthers remain first, followed by the Warriors, the Roosters, and Manly, who enter the top 4. The Rabbitohs, Knights, Cowboys, and Dolphins round out the top 8. And the biggest one here is the West Tigers slipping from 6th to 10th from the Magic Round weekend. In the AFL, the Sydney Swans remain tied with the Fremantle Dockers, followed by Geelong, the Gold Coast Suns, Melbourne Demons and Hawthorn to round out your top 6. And in netball, we have a new competition leader. It's the Adelaide Thunderbirds. They are now tied with the Melbourne Vixens on 36 points. They are followed by the West Coast Fever and the Melbourne Mavericks, who round out the top 4. The Sunshine Coast Lightning and the New South Wales Swifts just sit one win outside of that top 4. So if the Melbourne Mavericks do not win next week, expect one of those teams to potentially jump up into the top 4. That is your Monday wrap. And on Thursday, I'll be back with the week's big stories and everything coming up on this weekend. And one quick call out. I'd really appreciate if you could send this podcast to one new person who hasn't listened to the Sports Playbook before. Make sure they're informed for their sports news. So in the meantime, follow the Sports Playbook. We are your go-to for fast sport news without the noise. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time.